glad you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. While significant strides have been achieved in empowering women, the world still has a long way to go in fully emancipating them. Let's have an exchange with Katie Ford, founder of Freedom for All Foundation. Katie, welcome to Manila, and thanks for joining us on The Exchange.
Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Live in the studio. You know, Katie, you owned the Ford models until 2007, then sold it. Why did you give up running a modeling empire?
You know what? I loved it, actually, and I love developing models' careers. And I'm still friends with many of the models that I represented then. I really wanted to do something to also give back to the world. And when I learned of how many women are trafficked for labor, for sex, I frankly couldn't believe it. And there are 40 million people in slavery today.
But what really motivated you to do this? Freedom for All Foundation, a vocation which is very close to your heart, to end slave labor.
You know, as a child, I always thought, how could there be slavery and people would stand by? And when I found out there were 40 million people in slavery, I wondered how I could stand by. I'd said this to myself my whole life, and I was shocked what I didn't know at that point in time. And I thought I had a different set of skills, having worked around the world, and having people from all over the world live in our house. As a child, models from everywhere. And so I thought, I've really got to try to end this.
And how are you trying to end it, Katie?
Well, we work very closely with 10 organizations around the world, and Voice of the Free here in the Philippines is one of our closest partners. And they protect women who have been domestic workers and are returned in not good shape, and also young girls and women who have been trafficked for sex.
What is the current situation right now in the Philippines?
The situation is terrible. Online sex trafficking drastically increased during the pandemic. And I would say before that, awareness had increased among Filipinas about the possibilities. But then people were hopeless. They didn't have income, they couldn't travel. There were so many factors, and also the whole world went online.
Are you now trying to turn the tide? How are you doing it?
Well, it's really my partner that tries to do it, and they create awareness here, they create policy with the governments, they look at overseas policies and work with both governments here and abroad, and they have a shelter where they protect the young women and nurture them, bringing them really back to health and stability.
Back to health, to stability, shepherding them. But how is Freedom for All and your partner, Voice Free, trying to empower these trafficked and abused women?
Well, first of all, getting them back to being able to communicate after being abused that way is one thing.
They're
For
psychologically.
the young, psychologically, socially, and then for the young children, they stay there until they basically graduate from high school, and they have skill sets and they have different vocational skills.
You provide them with vocational skills and opportunities after they have been rescued. Can you give us some examples of where they are right now?
Well, some are teachers, some are nurses. There have been a lot of young women who have gone through the program who are in all sorts of different professions. Some are dental care workers. I mean, it's a huge variety, and the training they provide and the contacts they provide are exceptional.
And the women that you have met here in the Philippines, Katie, you've been here several times and given talks together with your partner, Voice Free. Are the women in the Philippines free? Is there gender equity? Is there gender equality, apart, of course, from the negative side that we see in the Philippines?
Well, when we're talking trafficking, nobody
Yes.
is equal. Anybody
That's right.
who's trafficked is not equal. I don't think women anywhere are frankly yet equal. However, there are huge differences around the world, and in the Philippines, I think a lot of women are the bread earners when we're talking about the larger population. I don't know if that makes you equal or not equal. You know, I'm not here to comment on the Philippines about this, but nowhere, I would say. You know, you look at the executive suites in America, we're not equal. So,
March is always a significant month because we're celebrating Women's Day, which is on March 8th. And here on the Exchange, we are celebrating Women's Month. What is your message for women in the Philippines and all over the world as we recognize women this month?
I'd say to women, empower women. Stand up, have a voice, make sure you feel empowered to have an equal voice, and then help other women when you do. And that's what I hope to be doing.
Thank you so much, Katie, for joining us on the Exchange. And thank you for this welfare exchange, Freedom for All Foundation founder, Katie Ford. Let's now head over to our discussion on social media. We earlier asked, how can we better empower women? And here are your answers. Facebook user Lawrence calls for equal access to education, healthcare, and economic opportunities, along with policies promoting the rights of women. Facebook user Maria Angelica notes the importance of accessible reproductive health care for women and that these services should not only be for childbirth. Instagram user Cha wants validation for women's self-expression, given that their narratives in mainstream media and pop culture are underrepresented. And Twitter user Personality lists several ways like better wages, policies against sexual harassment, and safer public spaces for women. And still ahead on the Exchange, where your business is our business. How did one of the longest surviving production companies sustain its success through the decades? Regal Entertainment's Rosel Monteverde joins us next on CNN Philippines. News you can trust.